March the 13th, 2020. On the Today programme on BBC Radio, we discuss whether there's a thought going round that if old people die of COVID, it wouldn't be so bad as young people dying of COVID. A woman says, if anyone goes, let it be me, not my grandson. I think, oh, is Mr. Death still doing the rounds then? I thought we didn't believe in him anymore. Does he turn up at our door and say, I've got to have one of you tonight. You have to choose. Take me, we old uns shout. Leave the young ones. Is that it? In March 2020, you can't see a doctor, you can't go to A&E, you can't get tested. All you can do is ring a paramedic. I ring a paramedic. He tells me to breathe down the phone. I breathe. He listens. He asks me if I felt worse than yesterday. I say no. He says, you're okay then. Tweet, March the 27th. Day 12 of being ill. The year's seasons roll by in a night. Sweats, freezes, sweats, freezes. I wondered whose mouth I had. I didn't remember it as made of sandpaper. Water is as good as ever. In the spare room at home, I say to Emma, it feels like I can't get enough air. There isn't enough air. I can't catch up, I say. I get so ill, Emma calls our friend and neighbour who's a doctor. She comes over with an oximeter. Emma puts it on my finger. 58, Emma says. The doctor says, is that the pulse? Emma says, no, the pulse is 115. The doctor writes later that she had never seen anyone with 58 who was still conscious. Emma drives me to A&E. Elsie, our daughter, in the back. I'm panting. It's night. The road is empty. I go in. I don't have time to turn around. They're gone. A doctor is standing by my bed, asking me if I would sign a piece of paper which would allow them to put me to sleep and pump air into my lungs. Will I wake up, I say. There's a 50-50 chance, he says. If I say no, I say. 0, he says. I sign. The nurses and volunteers in my intensive care ward keep a kind of journal about my stay there. They say it's my patient diary, or as I call it, my very patient diary. On the cover it says, this diary can be completed by relatives, friends, nurses, doctors and allied health professionals to record the patient's daily events. The diary may help with the patient's post-critical care recovery by providing them with information and insight into a time when they were not aware. April the 9th. Dear Michael, we are your ITU helpers today. You're doing fantastically well and fighting hard. You still have a breathing tube, but you're doing well. Keep fighting. LSC and Lizzie. April the 10th. Hi Michael. I'm your helper this evening. Your vitals are slowly improving, including your temperature. We've wrapped you in a heated blanket and reposition you regularly to improve your lung perfusion. You're sleeping peacefully at the moment, monitored and controlled by the ventilator. We've still another 8 hours together, but so far so good. Jenny, Physio by day, ITC helper by night. Dan, who is a speech and language therapist, volunteers to work on my intensive care ward. He keeps his own diary. He changes our names. He calls me Mr. Jacobs. He writes, I said a few Hail Marys over Mr. Jacobs, even though I knew he's Jewish. I think, good idea. Cover all the bases. Next day, Dan says, came in. Mr. Jacobs still alive. I think, you must have thought when you went home the night before that Mr. Jacobs was going to cop it. Poor Mr. Jacobs. April the 14th. Dear Michael, you required a ventilator to take over your breathing due to your further deterioration. The ICU team had to prone you, meaning you had to lie on your belly to help improve your oxygenation. This procedure required 7 people to reposition you safely. We're hoping to see you improving every day. Take one day at a time. You'll get there soon. All the best, Michael. Margie, ICU nurse. April the 17th. Dear Michael, my name is Beth, and I've been the nurse looking after you overnight. I normally work at Great Ormond Street Hospital looking after children, but have been moved here to help look after adults. I call you guys big children. You've done really well overnight. You're starting to move little bits, which is excellent. Hope you continue this great progress. You've got this. Looking forward to meeting you when you wake up. You wrote my favourite book. We're going on a bear hunt. All the best, Beth. April the 19th. Dear Michael, my name is Natasha. I'm usually employed in the community, but because the school I work in is closed, I'm helping out in ICU. This evening, one of the IV lines in your neck was taken out because the doctors are happy with your progress. You've also been moving your arms about a little, and I think you might have been aware of us speaking to you. Keep fighting, Michael. April the 24th. Hello, Michael. I've been asking you to blink and squeeze my hand to communicate, and you've been diligently obliging. Please send your NHS anniversary poem to Boris Johnson. Best of luck, Kajal Doshi, Physio, ICU helper. April the 26th. Hey Michael, today has been a busy day for you. Lots of doctors and nurses have been caring for you. You've been well cared for. You've been restless at times, but I've been there to hold your hand. Alison. April 29th. Good afternoon, Michael. It's Claire the Physio again. You must be sick of me talking to you today. We've been chatting a lot to keep you stimulated so your blood pressure rises. You're turning your head when I'm talking to you as well. Great stuff. Keep going. You've got this. Claire. April 29. Night shift. You still have a breathing tube going into your throat, meaning you aren't able to speak, so unfortunately for you, it's mostly me chatting away to you. I seemed to get a response when I mentioned that you supported Arsenal, judging from your pictures, but you didn't seem impressed when I told you I was a Derby County fan. Keep going, keep fighting, and keep being so strong. Lizzie, kiss kiss, Physio. Emma's email to the family. May the 2nd. Hi all. Mick is experiencing delirium at the moment, and this is making him quite agitated, hallucinating and moving his arms and legs around. The doctor asked me for some music last evening, and apparently some Django Reinhardt seemed to soothe him a bit. Elsie and I made a playlist for him this morning, which is now taped on the wall by his bed, and the staff have already played him some of the tracks. Love to all, Emma. May the 3rd. You're trying to communicate now by mouthing words and nodding or shaking your head or using facial expressions. Natasha. May the 3rd overnight. Your blood pressure decided that it fancied being a yo-yo, and we've had to do a good amount of deep suctioning via your trachea, the breathing tube in your throat. I'm really sorry that this is so unpleasant. It's so important to get that mucus out of your lungs. I'm sorry I can't write more. With the pandemic, each nurse has multiple patients, but keep fighting. You'll go home soon. Sarah. May the 4th. Hi Michael, we're going to video call your family shortly. It's always important for recovery to hear familiar voices. Keep fighting. I know you can do this. Best wishes, Holly. May the 4th. Dear Michael, things may seem like a dream when you're here. You may remember vivid memories of images, sounds, or even smells. That's very normal. Your family have been sending their love every day. All the best in your recovery. Jo, nurse. May the 6th. Afternoon, Michael. We've had a busy day so far. It started with spa time. A bed bath, hair comb, nail cut and clean, and we also shaved your beard. Sorry, we know you usually have a beard, but that's just so we can keep the area around your trachea clean. I'm unsure whether I'll work with you again, Michael. I should be heading back to my bladder and bowel team. Best wishes, Holly. May the 7th. Dear Michael, happy birthday! It's been so lovely to help look after you today on your birthday. You've been popular today. FaceTime calls from your family and a birthday card. You were also treated to a rendition of Happy Birthday from about 15 ICU staff around your bedside and a round of applause from staff and one of the other patients. Get well soon, Sophie, physiotherapist, Monique, ITU nurse. Emma, email to the family, May the 15th. Hi all, Mick has been calmer, more settled, and has been off all sedation for the last few days. He is responding to some commands with hand squeezing, arm movements, etc., and has some improved function in his muscles, which are obviously very weakened after so long. They think he may have some nerve damage, and I don't know if this could be permanent or temporary, and what the cause is. He's still on the antibiotics for the cavitating pneumonia. All love for now, Emma. May the 15th, night shift. Hi Michael, I originally admitted you to the intensive care unit 40 days ago. Well, what a roller coaster you've been on since then, and you're still here to tell the tale. I've read your birthday cards and messages to you tonight and continually remind you where you are, which seems to help you when you start to get a bit agitated. Get well soon, Carmen. May 16, night shift. Dear Michael, it's Natasha again. Although you can't voice yet because of the cuffed tracheostomy tube, you have been able to indicate yes and no with a combination of guesswork and your expressive non-verbal communication skills. You are able to ask some questions and make comments. There have been moments when you've been distressed and needed lots of reassurance. This is completely understandable. Being in ITU under the current circumstances can be incredibly disorienting and traumatic. I wish you safely home soon. Natasha. Emma, email to the family, May the 17th. Hi all. At short notice today, the hospital allowed me to visit Mick. They wheeled his bed out onto the 4th floor where there's a great view of London so I could sit with him. I played him all the little messages you recorded for him and he definitely responded to them. He has now also had a negative COVID test. Bloody hurrah. All love, Emma. May 18th. Hi Michael. You've been trying to tell us a few things, but we haven't been able to understand, and that's been very frustrating for you. But you've told us you're comfortable and you've stayed positive in spite of it all. Keep fighting. It'll all be worth it. Dan, speech and language therapist, helper. May the 19th, day 43. Please be patient with yourself. Slowly but surely. I can't blame you that you really wanted to go home. Hospital can be quite boring at times. May you continue to touch and inspire every human being you'll encounter. God bless. Your nurse, Wincy. May 21st. Dear Michael, talking to you this evening, you're expressing how you've had to relearn many things as you recover from your illness. This is true, but remember to give yourself the time to do this. You'll get stronger day by day. Be patient if you can. We'll help you as you continue on your journey of recovery. So pleased to be able to talk with you and hear your voice. Best wishes, Louise. May the 22nd, email from Emma. Hi all, I'm very happy to say that Michael is moving out of ICU tonight. He is talking, still confused, delirium at times, and is trying to piece it all together, obviously, but slowly becoming more Mick-like. I'm going to the hospital in a bit to deliver him some comfy bedclothes, a soft blanket, his own toiletries, etc. He will have been in hospital 8 weeks tomorrow and has spent 47 days in ICU. Looking forward to a glass of wine later. Love to all, Emma. After the coma, They put me in a geriatric ward. I suppose they think I might be terminal. One nurse must think I'm a bit sprightly. She says, "What are you in here for?" I say, "I don't know." And if I don't know and you don't know, then we're both in trouble, aren't we? The consultant says that when they took me off the drugs that were keeping me asleep, I didn't wake up. So they got Emma to come in. She held my hand and played recordings of the kids in my ear. I waved my arm, then they wheeled me back into the lift. The consultant says she was the game changer. After that, I didn't stop talking. Not like me at all. A nurse stands by my bed and says, "You're on puree. It says so over your bed. I've got cottage pie." She feeds me pureed cottage pie with a spoon. It tastes fantastic. I love it. I say, "Thank you for the cottage pie, and thank you for feeding me." After the coma, 4 people come to my bed and lift me up so that I can stand. I shake all over. I look down and see my legs. They're my father's legs when he was dying. You sat with me, you washed me, you cleaned me, you shaved me, you held my hand, you woke me up to stop my blood pressure going down. You sang to me, you talked to Emma, you played me her playlist, you wrote to me in the patient diary, you told me to keep fighting. It's the sort of thing we do for our children, as parents. But you're not my parents. A psychologist comes. He says, "We've filled you up with mind-changing drugs. You may have frightening hallucinations." I say, "I dream I'm at a German Christmas party. I can't move. They throw berries in the air. Whew. They explode. And we sing, 'Heilige Nacht, stille Nacht.'" He says. In the geriatric ward, I shrink down to a body that they test. Bits of a body they test. A body in bits. Eye, toe, ear, ribs, tongue, tailbone, eye, toe, ear, ribs, skin, lips, ribs, eye. That's what I am. A body in bits. One night on the phone in the geriatric ward, I say to Emma that when I come home, I'd better live upstairs so that I can crawl to the loo. I don't think I'll be able to go up and down the stairs. A month later, when I get home, I see that we have a downstairs loo. I'd forgotten we had a downstairs loo. One night in the geriatric ward, I lie in bed trying to remember my shoes. I don't know what shoes I've got at home. I could remember my Crocs. I couldn't remember what shoes I had at home. I don't tell Emma that because I feel ashamed. I lie on my back and make up a story. I make up a story in my head about a cat who longs to have pasta. He can't have pasta because his owners go away and forget to tell the boy looking after the cat that it loves pasta. I write the story and it's published. It's called Rigatoni the Pasta Cat. I think it's about me in hospital longing for hummus. In the geriatric ward, I look down to the bottom of the bed at my big toes. The nails have come off and there's just dried blood. That's what's happening with COVID, they say. Sticky blood fills the capillaries, they burst and bits of the toes die. Your hands speak. Touch is a language. Each palm, each fingertip is a line from your stories. I get what they each say. This hand is in a hurry. This hand hesitates. These hands are worried. They catch me as I slope sideways. This hand knows a lot. It hunts for the lumps where previous jabs filled me with blood thinner. This hand hunts for bed sores. It spreads Vaseline and kindness. After you've taken my blood pressure and you've clipped the oximeter on my finger to find out if I'm taking up oxygen, you stand at the end of my bed and stare at me. I ask you why. You say you're doing my obs. What is this? I say. We look at you to find out how you are, you say. What do you write down? I say. What we see, you say. I'd like to look at that one day, I say. Now that I've been in for weeks, there must be yards and yards of obs. I wonder what they say. Things like, he looks less dead today. He could do with a haircut. The consultant says we didn't know if you were brain dead or not. I say, you didn't tell me that at the time. He says, well, there wasn't any point. We thought you were brain dead. The consultant says you've got 3 blood clots in your pulmonary artery. I say, should I worry? He says you'll probably digest them. I think of clots, like scabs. On camping holidays, me and my friend Mart used to eat our scabs. Maybe it'll be something like that. We think we know who we are. There's the mind, and there's seeing our body and feeling it as it does its bodily things. Then you get ill, and doctors and nurses start reading stuff inside you. Liver, kidneys, spinal column. You knew they were there, but you couldn't read them. When my father and my brother teased me, my mother would say, leave him alone, he's tired. They learnt it. So first they'd tease me, and then before Mum could say it, they would say, leave him alone, he's tired. It could be on my gravestone, I think. Leave him alone, he's tired. I go to the rehab hospital. I can't stand up. I can't walk. The physiotherapists and occupational therapists tell me that they'll get me walking in 3 weeks. I don't believe them. At the rehab hospital on the first day, a guy who had been in the Greek army comes to my bedside, claps his hands together and says, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I say, go where? I can't move. I have a dream. I'm in a place where I can't see or hear. I can't feel what I'm touching. I can't taste my tongue. There's a field of bodies. We stare with eyes that can't see. I'm under bodies, but I tug on legs and heads and get free. I look back and see 10,000 elbows, hips and knees. They belong to people, and I don't know why I'm not one of them. I learnt to walk when I was 1. I learnt to walk when I was 17 after a car accident. I'm learning to walk again. Now I'm 74. 3 times. Seems a bit excessive. At the rehab hospital, the occupational therapist says, throw the balloon to me. It's too heavy. They've been worried about my low blood pressure, but they've brought me the Daily Mail, so it'll be fine in just a moment. A therapist comes to my bed and says, you had a tracheostomy, so you have to be careful about what you eat. You can't eat raisins, she says. But some days that's all I eat, I say. I tell children in schools my name is Michael Rosen. You can't eat raisins anymore, she says. They say your voice is very feeble. You need voice therapy. After all that time in a coma, your diaphragm's forgotten how to work. They say I have to sing down a plastic straw so that it blows bubbles and trill through my lips. I do a lot of that. Now my diaphragm works. At the rehab hospital, one guy says that he's going to bunk off going to the gym that afternoon. I lie in bed wondering, what is he bunking off from? Is he bunking off from himself? They give me a stick. I call it Sticky McStick-Stick. It helps me walk. I love Sticky McStick-Stick. But then a physiotherapist says that I've become stick-reliant, so I have to throw Sticky McStick-Stick away. The first time I walk to the toilet without Sticky McStick-Stick, I sing, "Search for the hero inside yourself" to get me there. I sit on the loo and think, I wonder how many people have sung "Search for the hero inside yourself" to get themselves to the loo. When I get home, there's a letter from the hospital for me. It says that while I was in intensive care, there was an outbreak of Klebsiella, cavitating pneumonia. Bits of my lungs cavitated. I imagine something in my lungs, making caves. After I come out of hospital, someone sends me a card with the message, "Resurrection of the Year." I guess that "of the year" saves it from being blasphemous. I go to see the ear doctor. He says that bleeds in my brain have knocked out the nerve. That's what the eye doctor said. I say the bleeds knocked out my eye. He gives me a hearing aid. Keep it on all day, he says. He goes over to a computer. I'll be able to see on here if you've got it on or not, he says. The eye doctor says, "Why have you still got your tracheostomy dressing on?" I say there's a hole. He says, "I'll find you someone." A woman takes me away. She looks in the hole. "You're granulating," she says. "This'll hurt. It's silver." Later, the hole closes. "She's in cosmetics," the eye doctor says. I was bad. I took a wrong turning in life. I got old. I didn't mean to get old. Perhaps someone led me astray. Perhaps I was weak. I just got into bad ways and I kept doing it, kept on and on, being old. I'll always be grateful to people who saw a bit of good in me in spite of everything. I'm glad to have been given a second chance. I'm trying not to be old now, but it's hard. I get tempted. 2 physios come over and sit on the sofa. They ask me, "What are your long-term objectives?" I think, have I got any of them? I wonder, have I ever had long-term objectives? I don't think so. "What are your long-term objectives right now?" they say. To be able to walk to the end of the street, go to the Jewish deli, remember what I went in there for and bring it back home, all by myself? That would be good, I think. "Yes," they say. "Anything else?" Live for a bit more? And come to think of it, I've never bothered to make pickled cucumbers. I just buy them, but my mother made lovely pickled cucumbers. I would like to try that one day. "You're doing very well," they say. I've discovered that some people think that over 70s are dispensable. Or they think more that if we die, there's more chance they'll be saved. I walk into walls. The edge of the table is nearer than I think it is. I pour, but miss the cup. I miss the bottom step. You call from the living room, I go and look for you in the bathroom. The cats aren't stuck in the cupboard. They're stuck in the loo. I hold banisters. I say to the consultant that just before you guys put me to sleep, you said I had a 50-50 chance of waking up. Was that what we all had on that ward? 50-50? More or less, he says. In the end, we lost about 42%, he says. The consultant says the intensive care ward was equipped for 11 patients. At the worst moment, we had 24. We're supposed to have one nurse with one patient all the time, 24 hours a day. Sometimes we had one nurse running between 3 or 4 patients. Some nurses haven't recovered. People say to me, "Do you remember anything about being in the coma?" I say, No, nothing. I don't remember anything of the coma, or waking up, or the first days after that. Then it gets complicated. I remember times when I thought I knew what was going on, but now I know that I didn't know what was going on. When the doctor said that I had a 50-50 chance of waking up, I remember thinking, hey, that's not so bad. 50-50 is quite good. And I thought, if I go, at least I won't know I'm going. Like Eddie. That's what the doctor said about Eddie. He wouldn't have known he was going. All the membranes of his cells leaking. His insides turning to mush, he said. Now I think 50-50 is not so good. My grown-up sons come over and take the dad for a walk. I don't have a lead, I don't run off, and I don't sniff other dads. When I come out of hospital, I forget the names of Tom Cruise, George Clooney, and Meryl Streep. I have famous Hollywood film stars forgetting syndrome. I'm worried I can't see much with my left eye. The eye docs say they're worried about the pressure in my eyes. They laser holes in my eyes. They take out lenses and put in plastic ones. They put a plastic drain in. The pressure's okay, but I'm worried I can't see much with my left eye. The consultant says that at the beginning there wasn't enough PPE. One time the PPE that came in was second-hand. One piece came out of the packing with blood on. I wonder who's been punching me in the eye. It says on the side of the bottle of eye drops that the drops might stain my eye. It does stain my eye. I look in the mirror. There's a circle of red skin. No one's been punching me in the eye. On March the 13th, 2020, just about when I caught COVID, there was a lot of talk in the media about herd immunity. What were they thinking of? That we'd be like rabbits that we used to see by the side of the road, dying of myxomatosis? Hundreds of thousands of rabbits died. The ones who could resist it bred. So now you don't see rabbits dying of myxo, as we used to call it. Was there a moment when they thought that we were going to be like the rabbits? Hundreds of thousands of people were going to have to die. Later they said that they never did think that. The 66-year-old journalist tweets, "Yes, we know you were ill, Michael, but you're 74. But? That but is doing a lot of heavy lifting. What's but about being 74? Are my days less valid than her days? If I'd copped it, would that have been more okay than if she had copped it?" With the echocardiogram, I hear bubbles and beats and volcanic mud plopping. As the probe slides over my chest, some bubbles get louder, others quieter. At the end, the man says, "Your left ventricular fraction is good." Now I feel very proud of my left ventricle. When people meet me, they say, "You're alive." I say, "Are you sure?" At the brain hospital, they do a cognitive functioning test on me. First question is, what is the name of the Prime Minister? I think, cruel to remind me of that. One question in the cognitive functioning test at the brain hospital is matching little tiles to a picture. I struggle. I can't do it. I feel bad. She says, "Don't worry. We aren't trying to find out if you can do it or not. We're testing whether you can concentrate." At the brain hospital, the nurse asks me how often I exercise. I say that I try to go for a 30-minute walk 3 times a week. She says it should be 5. The brain surgeon says, "Do you want to look at your brain?" I say, "I've been trying to look at my brain for years. I'm a writer." He puts up a slide. "It looks like you've had altitude sickness," he says. I say, "The highest I've been is the 4th floor of the Whittington Hospital." I like it that one of the nurses said in my patient diary that I was diligently obliging. It's the only time in my life that anyone has ever said that about me. Thoracic signed me off, but the consultant says that the scan shows that I had a thymic cyst. Should I be worried, I say? No. Why is it there, I say? I don't know, she says. Well, where's it come from, I say. No, it's more like it's never gone away, she says. Oh. OK, I say. How long were you in the coma for? 40 days, I say. 40 days and 40 nights. It was a bit biblical of me, wasn't it? Mind you, I wasn't on a boat, and there weren't any animals with me. My name's not Noah either. Oh, I try to think of his wife's name. Mrs. Noah. My wife wasn't with me. My father said, so long as you got your health and strength, you should worry. He said, you should worry, ironically, so it sounds like you've got nothing to worry about. I didn't have my health and strength. Then I did. I should be so lucky. Now I sound like Kylie Minogue. You said that the last night I lay in the bed, struggling to breathe, you thought the shadow of death crossed my face. I remember the line about walking through the valley of the shadow of death, or how the angel of death passes over and kills others. Passover. I'm confused between thankful and sorry. Thankful to be here now, sorry for those who didn't make it, sorry for you, as I imagine what it felt like to look on that shadow. You get used to the body you've got. You know it. You may not have words for it, but you have pictures of bits of it and how the bits move. It says, "Hi, I'm your back. This is how you bend." Or, "Hi, I'm your mouth. This is what your teeth feel like." "Hi, I'm your legs. This is how you walk." It's your body in your mind. Then a big thing happens and your body changes. You've got a new body bits, and your mind struggles to know it. To start off with, it doesn't want to. You don't want to know your new body. You want your new body to go away. Then slowly you start to find out ways to get to know it. You can try not to, though. It won't make any difference. It'll still be there saying, "Hi, I'm your new body." It doesn't walk away. It's always with you. You have to get on together. I stand up to speak. I say, "I'm glad to be here." I think about it. I say, I'm glad to be here in this place with you, the audience, but I'm also just glad to be here. I said to Emma, the physiotherapist at the rehab hospital, that I didn't think I would be able to do a show to hundreds of children in a theatre again. She said I would. This year, I do a show to hundreds of children at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. A woman with her kids asks me to sign a book. It's me, she says. It's Emma, the physiotherapist. I tried to die, but they wouldn't let me. These are the hands that touch us first, feel your head, find the pulse, and make your bed. These are the hands that tap your back, test the skin, hold your arm, wheel the bin, change the bulb, fix the drip, pour the jug, replace your hip. These are the hands that fill the bath, mop the floor, flick the switch, soothe the sore, burn the swabs, give us a jab, throw out sharps, design the lab. And these are the hands that stop the leaks, empty the pan, wipe the pipes, carry the can, clamp the veins, make the cast, log the dose, and touch us last.